So hi everyone, this is Pooja. Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to be covering domain 3 of AWS Certified AI Practitioner exam, which will be focusing on foundation model applications. Now be aware that this domain is very important, where AWS will be testing you on how foundation models are actually being used in real world scenarios, especially with AWS Bedrock, prompt engineering, embeddings, and fine-tuning. So here, we'll see through a domain overview. Here, this is where we will be focusing on applying foundation models and not be building models from scratch. Now, AWS here expects you to understand when to use text embeddings and text generation, how prompt engineering actually affects your model outputs, what fine-tuning actually has its requirements, and how multi-modal models work with text and images together. Moreover, these kind of questions in this domain will be scenario-based, where they'll be describing you any business-related problems or ask which kind of model will be suitable for this particular approach. Now, let's just go through some questions. Now here, question number 1, a company wants to build an AI-powered search application that supports queries containing both text and images. What type of foundation model should the company use? So you guys can pause the video here while I'll be holding for 5 seconds so you guys can figure out which answer will it be. Okay. So we'll find out the answer, and the answer is multi-modal embedding model. So why would this approach or this answer would be suitable? Well, coming back to the previous question, to the options here, text generation models only focus on like writing content, not for search. Image generation more towards images, not for retrieving any information. And finally, text embedding models only work with text. So when we come to multi-modal embedding models, they are ideal more for search applications because they do not generate any content. They represent data in a numerical manner. Along with that, they're also used for comparison between text and images. This is actually heavily focused on Amazon Bedrock related use cases, so do be aware when working or studying about Amazon Bedrock. Moving forward to the next question. So here, a company uses a pre-trained LLM or large language model on Amazon Bedrock. The responses must be short and always in Spanish. What is the most effective way to achieve this? So here, you guys can pause the video while I hold in for 5 seconds for you to figure out the answer. So, okay, let's just find out the answer. And here it would be B, so adjusting the prompt instructions. While coming back to the previous question, I'll discuss on the other options as to why they're incorrect. Here, temperature actually represents here, controls more towards the creativity of your output, not on the language or length. And top K is more towards like the randomness of the token selections, like how randomly you want it to be generated. And the changing the model size here is not really relevant to the actual question or the scenario being given, and it's also very expensive. Now, coming back to adjusting prompt instructions, when it comes to prompt engineering, you have the ability to actually control the output language, the length, as well as the response time. So in this case, this actually is very inexpensive as compared to fine-tuning and as stated below, like changing the length or the model. So in this case, AWS will more likely towards make it a little tricky with this kind of question. So do be aware of which the expense factors of what kind of methods are inexpensive, what is the most expensive. So in that case, try to read through that. Moving forward to the next question. Here, a company wants to fine-tune a foundation model using its internal data to improve accuracy. So what is required here? Now, You guys can pause the video while I hold in for 5 seconds. Then I'll discuss in the answer. Okay, so we'll see through what the answer is. The answer here is C, the provided labeled prompt completion pairs. Now here many of the candidates get confused around this question. Here fine-tuning does not necessarily mean on those parameters like increasing your temperature or your provisional throughput or training with some like random data sets. Here be aware that prompt here means the input and the completion is actually the expected outcome here. So when coming to providing the labeled prompt completion pairs, for example, it will be used after fine-tuning for production inference, not for the training here. Fine-tuning actually works by adjusting the model weights. So this is where labeled examples play an important role here. So be aware that when it comes to the keyword fine-tuning, it is actually your labeled prompt plus your completion data. Moving forward to the final question. Here, an AI practitioner wants to build a recommendation system using semantic similarity between user queries and documents. So you guys can take your time and figure out what the answer is. While I hold in for 5 seconds, you guys can pause the video as well. Okay, so we'll now see through the answer, which is text embeddings. We'll come back to this question right now. Try to focus on the word semantic similarities. When it comes to semantic similarities, you should be able to rule out the keywords like text generation, image generation, and reinforcement learnings. When it comes to text generation and image generation, like combination of them, like even multi-modal models, here is actually ruled out. So here, embeddings are actually being used to convert the text into vectors. Moreover, for like similarity searches, any recommendations, as well as clustering purposes. Not just that, it has also been optimized for rankings and retrieval purposes. And even if you are seen in real world scenarios, like for recommendation systems that you go through like in YouTube or any shopping sites that you see. Wrapping up, I'll be suggesting you the important things. Anything that related to prompt issues will be focusing on prompt engineering. Something on searches or similarities, focus on embeddings. Text and images, multi-modal embeddings, and any custom domain accuracies, focusing on fine-tuning with the labeled data. So this is what I cover with domain 3. And thank you so much for watching. Myself again, Pooja, the AWS Cloud Captain at CIT, certified in AWS AI Practitioner, as well as AWS Solution Architect Associate. And thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys like the video and subscribe.